All right, so we just read chapter 1 of the Spook Who Sat by the Door. If you didn't read it with me, you can go read it. You already know it. You just want to hear analysis, you at the right place. So chapter 1, we got Senator Hennington with his wife. We got him and his, I guess his advisory board all together, and they're kind of trying to see if he's going to win this election. And they are concerned because he's like barely making it through, and they start to think, well, how can we turn the vote in our favor? Eventually the question comes up of the Negro vote, and he says, oh my gosh, I have been on the right side of the Negro politics for all these years. Why am I struggling with this vote? How can I turn this around? They come up with a few ideas. They think about it, and they say, ooh, I got a plan. Let's attack the CIA and say that they don't hire black people to be officers in the CIA. And let's use that as our way to market to the Negro vote, right? And then they will vote for me again because they are highly impressionable and influenceable on racial issues. Okay. I don't know if y'all know this, but I work in marketing. I work at a marketing agency. And those discussions are much like these political discussions. How do we talk to the audience? How do we enrage the audience? How do we get their attention? How do we get the conversions, right? And the conversation they're having about race, they are so far removed emotionally from what that means and how that is impacted. They are more focused on the numbers and tailoring the results, utilizing the emotions of black people. And it's sad. Which is why, like, this is gonna be a nasty conversation. Okay, so it's sad because it's mostly the reason I hate voting, because I'm like, the only way I can really vote is with my money. When I really don't like something, I stop paying for it. Like, seriously, that is the most impactful way for people to hear us. And it upsets me because even today, that conversation is also reminiscent of a lot of conversations when it comes down to the Negro vote. If you think about the Donald Trump election, his thing was, what do you have to lose? He literally said those words. What do you have to lose? And that implies that we are already at the bottom. We are already getting the less end of the stick. We are already being exploited. We are being, pushed into the worst neighborhoods. We are being driven into the worst dynamics. Our culture is being saturated with the most ignorant bull crap. I'm trying not to cuss anymore. Ooh, look at me, I did good that. Bull crap that you've ever seen. So what do you have to lose? When it came to the Biden election, they played the sympathy. They promised us nothing and played to the sympathy of, you'll get your first African-American vice president. I didn't understand why that was important. I didn't care. Secondly, she wasn't even African-American. She's half Jamaican and half, Southeastern Indian. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but you get what I'm saying. They pandered her and marketed her to us as if, look, you're going to have an ally in the White House. And without saying it, but implicitly making this thought process for black people, if we have this black woman in the White House, then we have an ally in the White House who will represent our interests. That is a lie. That is a lie from the pits of hell. That did not happen. When it came to Barack Obama, and don't kill me, don't shoot me, hands up, don't shoot. But if you remember his political campaign, which is nothing more than a marketing campaign, guys, he told us that he would give us hope. Literally, go back and look at his marketing propaganda, his campaign propaganda. He wrote hope everywhere. And he aligned his image to the image of Martin Luther King. Promised us nothing, but played with the visual imagery of him and Dr. King, the civil rights leader of America, beloved MLK. the new addition, Barack Obama. Now, you are more than free to get to go windmilling in my comment section. Go ahead. I've definitely seen y'all come at me a couple times. You can go into my comment section and windmill away and tell me, what do you think he's done directly for the African American population? Drop it in the comment section. Prove me wrong, because I have been looking for that for a minute. Something of substance that he did for the African American community. Did he promise us hope? Yes. But did he deliver us results? And I think it's important. And if you think about what Senator Hennington did in the first chapter of the book, I'm not going to promise change for Black people. I'm not going to work to understand where they're coming from. I'm not going to go visit their neighborhoods. I'm not going to go see on the grassroots level. I honestly am not. His wife told him that the one Black person he had on his board was not there to think. They felt like they had all the answers about the Negro. They only needed a token Negro in this space because that made them look good. And it was to the point that Summerfield, the Black guy that worked with them, had gotten to a point that, and this is the sad thing that I see a lot of times for Black people working in white spaces, is that they begin to become invisible. And y'all gonna be mad because I'm gonna quote Kanye, but he told us, he told us, if you hang around people who don't think you are who you are long enough, you'll forget who you are. And that's what happens. If you work in a place where you're not respected for your intelligence, you're not respected for what you can bring and the value you add, you will stop adding value, and you will start to behave in the way that you are being seen by your peers. I literally was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. She was like, oh, I just feel like I'm intimidated. I just feel like intimidated. I feel like she's taking my spot. And I was like, the worst thing you can ever do in any situation is to shrink yourself. You may get fired. Who cares? Like, who cares about getting fired from one job when you can maintain your dignity and your self? Because your career and your job is different. So shrinking yourself for your job, you shrink yourself out of your career. You shrink yourself out of your opportunities. You start thinking that the only way to operate is by being small. So you play into the thought process of others. And in doing so, you then begin to act small. And if you think, therefore you are. And now you've lost your ground. So already, chapter 1, I'm seeing Summerfield as someone who has been in this corporate white space far too long. That's how I'm seeing him based on how he's looking. He's like, I've learned to play this game so good. I drive my Ford to work. I keep my Lincoln at the house. Every time I see white people and I'm coming in white spaces, I'm smiling. And you know, that is the trickster mentality. That is the trickster mentality. The problem with the trickster mentality for me, is that it's incredibly individualistic. It does not help the greater society of the Black people around you. It only benefits the trickster. That's it. That's the problem with the role. That's the problem with the trope. Taking on this, oh, I'm going to pander to white people, but everybody know I'm just playing. They know I'm just joking. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to tell them, hang them niggers. No. Like, even when it come down to reading the book, who is that with Bigger Thomas? And I made a video, the most depressing book ever. And all of y'all was windmilling in my comments, talk about you don't get it. No, what I do get, hear me out. What I get is that Richard Wright was pandering to white market spaces, utilizing the general view of Black people in order to make a point that fits the already suggested image of Black people in their mind. Richard Wright himself was, if at best, a trickster. He was selfish in his efforts for freedom. It was only about him. He didn't care who was stepped on, who was pummeled, who was mistreated in the process. When you make works like the one he made, what you have is a physical and tangible addition. Don't mind this book, but I'm saying a tangible item that people who hate us can turn to and say, see, even they know that they're animalistic. Even they know that they're primal. Even they know that they're not worthy. Did he get rich in the process? Yes. Did he get celebrated across the nation? Yes. But in doing so, he was instrumental in holding back progress. He actually was a jerk to Zordell Hurston a number of times because she stood on her politics. Because he did not want to be dissuaded or lose his positioning within American society. He began to attack this black woman, this woman who had been instrumental in helping all these black people become like writers and famous to get their works published. She began to attack Zordell Hurston on a public level so that he could sustain his position. That's the problem with the trickster mentality. It's inherently selfish and it holds back progress. So in the first chapter, not that big of a fan of Summerfield, to be honest with you, because I'm not interested in trickster politics anymore. If I can't walk in a room and be myself, then I don't need to be in those rooms anymore. If I can't be acknowledged for my intellect and what I bring, and if I have to shrink, I don't want to be there. So already chapter 1, I'm not feeling Summerfield. I think that that position in politics has had its time and its time has passed. Personally, that's what I think. I think that we're going to see Hennington. I don't think that Hennington is a person who cares about black people at all. I think he thinks of it as an opportunity to make money and to sustain his position as a senator in American society. But I don't think he's someone that we can consider to care about black people. I think his wife is going to be an incredibly dangerous character within the work. We see her as a highly attractive white woman who has her husband's ear. She's into marketing and she doesn't care about who gets affected in the process of their strategy and campaign. She literally, like, if it wasn't the CIA, it could have been the FBI, it could have been the ADA, it could have been it could have been anybody. We was gonna pick somebody. Somebody was going to take the heat so that we could present ourselves as the hero. Now, be aware that they never did say, oh, we got black people into Central Intelligence roles. They don't care about that. They don't care. Literally just wanted to be able to point the finger at someone else's racial tendencies so that they could shine as America's white saviors. Yeah, we went there. In addition to that, we do have the CIA being very plainly, pointedly racist, right? Black people don't have the intellect, the duplicity, the ability to be Central Intelligence agencies. They aren't prepared for the level of espionage necessary because of their childlike characters. That's some foreshadowing. That's some foreshadowing. We're definitely finna see that the CIA's attitude towards blacks be challenged. I think that is Sam Greenlee's ability to foreshadow. I'm not that far in the book, but I think that he is foreshadowing what's to come, and he's going to challenge that idea about black people. I just see that happening for sure, and I'm here for it. Let's challenge it. But that also goes back into, can the black man be a trickster? Yes, we know that. We saw that in Jim Trueblood and Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. So we do know that it occurs, but it seems to only be something that black people know about themselves and that has not reached a point of everybody's understanding, like, oh, we have the intelligence to do so, because overall they see us as childlike, animalistic, and primal in nature, and therefore not intelligent enough to, to play on somebody else's intelligence, I guess is the most convenient way to say that. Anyway, that is my take on chapter 1 of Sam Greenlee's The Spook Who Sat by the Door. We'll be back for chapter 2. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Y'all tell me how interested you guys are in hearing the rest of this book and hearing the rest of my analysis of this. Y'all really like it? We're going to go fast. Y'all ain't we're going to go slow. It's up to y'all. Let me know. And of course, thank you for joining my little corner of the internet. I'll be back soon. Make sure you hit that like, follow, and subscribe if you like this type of content.